feel death around the corner. Can't cover your eyes, you can't stall her. Try ducking your highs, she still wants ya. So I'ma live how I wanna. I'ma live how I wanna. The devil, he be lurking, and I already know that death's certain. But before God close the curtain, I'ma live out my purpose. I'ma live out my purpose. I'm from the city where the skinny kitties die. Done gained a couple pounds, my cholesterol high. Figured I was safe if I had a little weight. When you got a full plate and the motherfuckers hate. Wait, told you it was too late at the wake. Now everything at stake. Bow our heads, I'm about to say grace. Dear Lord, I'm accepting of my fate. In hell's fiery lake, going heaven at the gates. No, I'm here for the moment, I don't fear no opponents. I just feel like I'm chosen to be here for the culture. That clown shit over and done with. They done took the game, reduced it to dumb shit. Know you tryna play a role when you sitting on your own and you contemplate control over everything you own, every single thing you wrote. Held sacred with your folks, taken as a joke. It's enough to make the death around the corner. Can't cover your eyes, you can't stall her. Try ducking your highs, she still wants ya. So I'ma live how I wanna. I'ma live how I wanna. The devil, he be lurking, and I already know that death's certain. But before God close the curtain, I'ma live out my purpose. I'ma live out my purpose.
I'ma live out my purpose, I'ma do whatever's worth it. I'm young, dumb, and full of cum, don't judge me cause I'm learning. The only thing that's certain is your death, the reaper lurking and coming to kill whenever, whoever he feel deserving. Yeah, and sometimes I feel worthless, out of place and out of bounds, like I ain't worth shit, straight up. But as I sit and sip this bourbon, I'm hurting and certain to get it because I'm working. Yeah, and I keep the reefer burning like Khalifa with a queen like Latifah, she was splurging. And these bitches I ain't concerned with, the ones y'all take turns with, be well known to burn dick. And if death is around the way, then you better get out the way, cause today can be the day. Yeah, and I live by what I say, only on my knees to pray. I'm just trying to be okay,
nigga. Can't cover your eyes, you can't stall her. Try ducking your highs, she still wants ya. So I'ma live how I wanna. I'ma live how I wanna. The devil, he be lurking, and I already know that death's certain. But before God close the curtain, I'ma live out my purpose. I'ma live out my purpose. I see my pastor in the Benz, boy, let me hold something. I ain't gonna tell the whole church you stole from them. I know. You try and say they sold for them. Damn, man, that's a cold pouring. Who I'm kidding? I'm just here finessing shit. I do believe in God. These raps is a blessing. Try and get it on my own. I don't use no connections. And you ain't gotta like it, but I swear they gon' respect it. Money is the root, but the wrong trees to help ya. Rap about God, you could build a tax shelter. I don't chase the money, I'm at chase at the teller. Make the counter, sorry, ain't nothing I can tell ya. Got some records I can sell ya. Ooh, records you can stream. Won't really make no cream, but your happiness is key. I'm here to tell you now, everything ain't what it seems. All praise these righteous things, we all have a right to dream. Whoa, I ain't clear this song either. Yeah, if this blow, I sort it out when I see ya. We share the same faith and we both praise Jesus. Good Friday in the stew, I'm trying to drop this thing by Easter. Whoa, I ain't clear this song either. Yeah, if this blow, I sort it out when I see ya. We share the same faith and we both praise Jesus. Good Friday in the stew, I'm trying to drop this thing by Easter.
On my way up that third day, need me 10 G's at per.
Rob Markman, how you doing?
What up? What's good, man? Give me 2 seconds. Let me just the lighting is kind of dark in here.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Take all the time you need.
Let me just fix the lighting. Let's see if this works.
Is everything good?
Yeah, everything's chilling, man. Everything's good.
How you doing?
Good, man. Just hanging in there, trying to, stay corona free.
Yeah.
Keep the fan healthy and just be productive.
Yeah, maintaining during the quarantine.
For sure, man. For sure. How about you?
Yeah, same. Just continuing with my show, and you're continuing with your show too. I saw you had an interview with Conway the Machine.
Yeah, we did Conway and Alchemist. I did Jesse Reyes. I got one coming with Story Lanes tomorrow. You know, it don't stop.
Yeah. Can't stop, won't stop.
Nope.
So you just dropped a new single last night, Death Around the Corner. I liked it.
Sure. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Now, would you say that this was basically, a tribute to Tupac? Because he had a track called Death Around the Corner.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't realize that till after.
Mm-hmm.
Pac is one of my favorite MCs. He's in my top 5.
Same.
I think that Pac is a lot of people clown him for not being a lyricist, but I think lyricism is judged by different things. I think Pac might be the greatest songwriter that hip hop has ever seen. I mean, he got songs that'll hit your heart, or he got songs like "Hit 'Em Up" that'll make you angry.
Yeah.
And so Pac's gift was in his songwriting. So it was funny. I didn't start out trying to tribute Pac with Death Around the Corner. Subconsciously, like when I look back at it when it was done, I was like, wow, that was influenced by Pac. But it was subconsciously. But when I started the first verse, I had wrote the hook first.
Yeah.
And then I did the first verse. I'm from the city where the skinny kitties die. And that was a play off. That was a deliberate play off of Pac's lyric. I'm from the city where the skinny kitties die.
Yeah.
Jay used that lyric. Joel's used that lyric. A lot of people used that lyric. So that was definitely Pac. And then when I went back, I said, damn, Pac said that on his song Death Around the Corner. And it just ended up being kind of a coincidence.
Yeah.
But it's such a coincidence that I had to be subconsciously my mind was there.
Mm.
I just wasn't outwardly thinking that when I did it.
Mm-hmm. And like I mentioned before, it's available on all platforms. Make sure you go get it. What is your favorite Pac album?
Oh, wow. It's a toss-up. It's either Me Against the World, but, I think it's Machiavelli, though. I think Machiavelli is my favorite Pac album. And it's messed up because that's the one that came out after he passed away, but he had completed it before he passed. So that album came out as he intended for it to come out. But there's songs on Machiavelli which is just amazing, which is scary because it was like there's no telling where that dude was going to go.
Yeah. Toss It Up was on Machiavelli, right?
Toss It Up, yeah. Just Like Daddy, White Man's World. Everybody
First.
talks about Hit 'Em Up as the diss record. But 21 Gun Salute, Against All Odds is what it was actually called, is an ill record. Hail Mary is an ill record. Bomb First. Yeah. It's so many dope. It's just, that record is amazing.
And when you listen to Bomb First in the beginning, because I get into the whole 90s East Coast, West Coast beef all the time, if you listen closely, have you heard that, very silently, Suge shot him?
Yeah. So... yeah, it's like, oh, Suge shot me. That theory has been going on since the album first came out. If that's what he was really saying or not. It's interesting. I don't know. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things, I didn't notice it until somebody said it, and then once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like one of those conspiracy theories. I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely one of those interesting things, man, because Pac was more than just what you saw on the surface.
Yeah. Now, how do you...
He's in my top 5, dog.
Yeah, Tupac is in my top 5 as well, and I don't get the hate that he gets today. I noticed it a lot. And I've had people at my radio station, and this just goes to show you how deep they are in the thought when they're researching hip-hop or whatever they're listening to. They say, what does Tupac do for the culture? What did he do? And it's just like, I don't understand it.
I mean, we're in this day and age where I think it's cool to be dismissive of certain things, but... I remember growing up in Brooklyn, and I would have Pac CDs. I had Strictly For My, when it wasn't cool to like Pac. But I was the type of kid when I would have Biggie and I would have Pac. I wasn't if my two favorite, now, if your two favorite rappers is beefing, you got to choose one over the other. You can't like Nicki Minaj and Cardi B.
Yeah, no.
You can't like Drake and Pusha T. And I never understood that. When 50 and Ja was beefing, I was a big Ja Rule fan.
Same.
And I was a big 50 fan. it didn't. 50 didn't stop me from being a Ja Rule fan. And when Jay-Z and Nas was beefing, Jay my favorite rapper of all time. But I still bought Stillmatic when it came out because Nas is ill. And Nas is like in my top 5 also. It was just like, but now the way that fandoms is set up is it has to be extreme one or the other. And I think it gets so dismissive, and I think people dismiss Pac. But he brought a lot to the game. Was he ill? Like, was he as ill, like, with the wordplay as Biggie was? Nah.
Yeah, no.
He wasn't. But Pac did things, again, just like, he'll get to the, you listen to a song like Damn Mama, like, that's one of the greatest songs in American history. Like, that could go up there with John Lennon, Imagine All the People. Like, I don't care what genre. You know what I'm saying? Like, that song is as great as Bob Marley records. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, just the songwriting. Like, when he said, and even as a crack fiend, mama, you always was a black queen, mama. Like, that's not ill lyrically to what we think about lyrics. But the way he was able to express that was crazy. And I know a lot of people could relate. I come from the crack era. So we seen a lot of our mothers or fathers or uncles or aunts on drugs and hooked out. And it don't mean that we ain't love them any less, but we seen that. So for him to say that, he spoke for a whole generation with that lyric. And then, even when you take, I always point people, when people say he can't rap, I always point people to the last verse on Me Against the World. Because he's doing he's doing like alliteration where he's just using P's.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And people with possessions, like, he just like keep using the P thing. And that, to me, that's a form of lyricism. And a lot of people can't do that. That's a hard thing to do. Kool G Rap was really dope at that.
Oh, G-Rap's fire.
People overlook, like, the shit that he does. And then, like, Hit 'Em Up. What has he done for the culture? Hit 'Em Up changed the way that diss records were made. Like,
and it was disrespectful, too.
As disrespectful, like, I firmly believe if we don't have Hit 'Em Up, then we don't get Nas's ether.
No, I agree.
In that same way. I think Pac changed the rules of engagement with the way that diss records was made. So when you ask what Pac did for the culture, or them diss records that you love, that everybody gets, you know, back to back, and the Pusha T story I added on, and just all that disrespect, that's Pac's DNA. You know what I'm saying? So hell yeah, he brought a lot. Anybody who said anything different is just like, either you just being a troll, or I question if you're a part of this culture anyway.
I agree with your points, and that's what we need in this culture, someone like you who can just validate what he did, because I get into arguments with a lot of people. I say Tupac is the greatest to ever do it, and it's what he did for the culture too. When you think of hip hop, I think of Tupac overall.
Right.
That's the face.
And he's one of the ones. He's one of the ones, man. Like, my 5 is like Jay, Nas, Biggie, Pac, Scarface.
Oh, I like Scarface. Yeah.
Just my person. That's just my personal. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, and they all bring something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My 5, it probably goes Tupac, Biggie, Nas, Rakim, and Eminem. That's my top 5.
M is nasty. It's like, even the disrespect that M gets is crazy to me.
How do you feel about his newest album that he just dropped?
Music to be Murdered By. I wasn't mad at it. Like, there was some, like, dope records on there. Like, I think what was the record? Oh, why do I forget the name? The one about the Vegas shooter.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know.
People were upset about. You know, I thought that was a brilliant record. You might not, like, people didn't want to hear it. I think the way he built up that record, I didn't know what he was rapping about. It felt like, to me, he was describing getting ready for a show.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the end, because I didn't watch the video, I heard it first. And then when you get to the end, it's like, oh, this is like the Vegas shooting. Like, he wrapped it up into a metaphor. I thought that was dope. Like, M is still a guy that pushes the envelope. You know, is he ever going to make a record as great as Stan? To me, maybe not. Maybe that part of his career passed him, but I respect M because, I mean, he just gives a fuck about rhyming. He cares about hip hop. I think every time you watch an Eminem interview, he's always talking about somebody else other than himself. He's always talking about somebody who influenced him. Yeah. And it's not your average. He'll sit there and talk to you about how G-Rap influenced him, or how Redman influenced him, or Tretch. You know, he did the interview with Crooked Eye. He's talking about how underrated Tretch is. Like, this is a guy who just wants to talk about hip hop, who wants to do hip hop, and not really involved in the extracurricular activities, I can't really disrespect that. Because at these days, like, hip hop has become about everything else but the music. And so, there was definitely some dope shit on that new album that I fucked with. But is it my favorite album? Nah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I respect them.
Have you ever listened to Eminem's first mixtape, Infinite? I believe that's what it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fire. He's got, was it Jealousy Woes? He's got a couple on there. It's Okay. He's got a couple fire tracks on that people need to check out.
He's one of the all-time greats, man. Like, it's just undeniable, that guy's skill level and what he's brought to the game. So, I hate that. Again, it comes from this extremism where, I think in social media, in order to get reactions, in order to get likes or retweets, you have to have strong opinions. Like, the stronger opinions get the more engagement. So I could definitely see a world where somebody says, "Yo, I'm not the biggest fan of Eminem," but you'll get more retweets if you say, "Yo, Eminem's whack." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of times too, a lot of the shit that people say on social media, I don't even know that they believe themselves. You just do it because you get more engagement.
Yeah.
No
one's themselves anymore. Yeah, no one's themselves anymore. They do whatever for the likes.
Yeah, but you can't discount what the fuck. Like, come on, man, that guy's cold.
I agree, and this is a strong point why I wanted you on the show, because you're a great journalist, and the music you make actually has a feeling, and it has a message, and it brings back that essence of real hip hop, and that's what I have on my show is real hip hop. I don't play any of this. I'm a huge critic. I don't like mumble rap. I'm not a big fan of the drill.
Wow.
The drill music, real hip hop only. The bars, it's gotta be there. It's gotta be there, man.
I appreciate that, man. I feel like I'm the type of fan. Like, I like it all. Like, I feel like there's a time and a place for everything. I just do what I do because that's the most authentic to me. Like, I don't know, and that's not to say I would never make a drill record. Like, I never like to make statements, like never, just like absolute statements like that. But that just doesn't feel comfortable to me right now. It don't feel true to me, so I'm not gonna do it just because it's the thing to do.
Yeah.
So I make the records that I want to make because it's the truest to me. But I think what we need more of in this game is balance. I think it's become too much of a popularity contest. I think it's become too much in the moment, and I think to me personally, drill is fine. I love what a lot of artists from Atlanta is doing, like, what I'm saying, with flows and melodies and stuff like that. Quote unquote mumble rap is fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, cool. Because I didn't all the way understand everything that Das Effects was saying back in the 90s.
Yeah.
It was from New Jersey, which is New Jersey, New York, but they had a style of diggity diggity dot. Like, and they weren't words all the time. Like, Old Dirty Bastard sometimes just made up words.
Yeah.
Like, Black Thought had a song, right? That ain't saying nothing. The old Root song where he's not saying words. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but it's dope. So that existed. So I'm not so mad about that. What I strive for though is balance. Like, it can't just be one thing. And I do feel like lyricism, in the way that we traditionally talk about lyricism, about the metaphors, the storytellings, the kind of hip hop that I make, and the kind of hip hop that I think you're alluding to, I think it gets downplayed a lot. And I think it's still important. I think it's still a movement, and I like to see spaces for it. So the fact that you have a show dedicated to that is dope, because it helps restore balance where we get a mix of everything.
Yeah, and that's important nowadays, is bringing back the storytelling. That was an essential element of hip hop. And another thing that I always stress on my show is that the New York hip hop radio stations are failing. They're not playing our sound, and you have artists out here from New York that are taking Atlanta's sound like they're from Atlanta. That's another issue I have. If you're from New York, you should sound like New York.
Right. To a degree, yes. And then to a degree, like, I think it's okay that the New York sound is changing. Like, I don't totally, like, subscribe to that, right? Like let's go a couple years back, take a guy like Designer.
Okay, yeah, Panda.
Panda, he got a lot of flack for sounding like Future, sounding like he's from the South, and not sounding like he's from New York. But the fact is, if you a young kid who grows up in New York and you listen to Hot 97 or you listen to Power 105 and you aspire to be on the radio, I want a hit record, man. But what does a hit record sound like? If you turn on the radio, a hit record sounds like Future.
Yeah.
A hit record sounds like Migos. So I understand why he would be drawn to that sound. I understand why, at this point, like, it's undeniable. And I'm New York through and through. I remember I was around when the time when New York was the hottest, like, just everything New York pumped out, hip-hop wise, was just hot.
Yeah.
And New York dictated how everybody else, I remember when everybody wanted to be like New York, like, the New York sound, the New York MCs would dictate how other people in other cities created. And there was a time like that. I think just now, a lot of that comes out of Atlanta. I think it's just their time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's undeniable what they're doing, and there's still lyricists in Atlanta. Like, I think Touche could rap his ass off. Yeah. Like, to me, it's undeniable. I think the Migos could rap. I think Takeoff and then Offset. There was like a lot of storytelling and introspection on Father 4, Offset's album. Like, Offset could rap. Like, I think Uzi could rap. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just the style, like, changed. If you put Uzi over a Premier beat and that was his tempo and that, like, I think he could figure it out because he could put words together. So, I just think it sounds different. But I do enjoy when New York, when there's just something authentic that feels like New York. Like, I don't need New York. It has to feel like a reflection. I do think the Brooklyn drill movement, like, when I'm out in the street, like, it feels like that. It seems like that. Like, it's not just the rappers doing it. It's like, just the way they talk, the lingo, the whatever. Like, like, there's a thing of that feels very New York. So I'm cool with that. Fuck with it.
Yeah, the people will say, you sound like an old man. You're always down on these new rappers and everything. But it's like, I think that rappers who are lyricists and MCs, like your music, it should get more recognition because you put your all into it. Whereas you can make a track, okay, you can be like 6ix9ine, you can go in the studio and let's just pop out a track in a second, and then it just gets all the streams in the world and it makes all this money. It's just not fair, in my opinion.
Yeah, I never looked at it like fair or not fair. Do I think my music deserves more attention? Yeah. Like, I write, but even when I write records and do songs, I do songs that the world could get with. I always think about the world. I just don't just think about New York. Even my new song, like Death Around the Corner, like, it sounds more like a West Coast record, honestly. But that was just because the producer sent me the beat. I said, yo, I like this beat. Yeah. This is what I'm going to write to it. Like, and I get people from all across the world hitting me, telling me that they fuck with my music, but it sound like I'm from New York because that's where I'm from. I'm not gonna sit there and put on a fake accent to sound like Atlanta. Like, there's still things that I have to do that's gonna be authentic to me. But again, I just think it's more about balance and the whole 6ix9ine thing. Yeah, I kind of draw the line. I'm into anybody that take their art seriously and take this culture seriously and put it on the pedestal. I'm not with the clown shit.
Yeah, I'm not either.
It's like, man, like, if you're just gonna treat this shit like it's disposable, like, I'm trying, because this shit, it comes apart with, we talk about this thing as a culture, and when we talk about culture, we talk about community, and I often look at what we're gonna leave behind for a generation after us. What opportunities can we create for people around us? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's when hip-hop is at its best. I question people who just take from the culture and never give it back. I look at something like 6ix9ine and I'm questioning. I see what he's gained from the culture. I see what he's taken from the culture. What have you given? And that's probably the issue that comes from. No, just don't take. What have you given? What opportunities have you given? How do you put people on? Or is it just, it's all about me? That's a quick way to our fucking destruction if we give the keys to this shit to too many people who just be on some me shit and not on some culture shit.
Well said.
Word.
Well said. And I want to get into your singles that you're dropping. It's the 1st and 15th of every month, right?
Yeah. I'm dropping. Hold on, let me try to prop this. I'm dropping new records on the 1st and 15th of every month all year, and I've been doing it. And you know the audio still coming through clear, right?
Yeah, that's perfect. I can still hear you.
Cool. The reasoning for that is, you know, people know I'm a journalist. People know I work at Genius. You see me work Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
Like, even if you look on my Instagram, a lot of my Instagram is me promoting other people. A lot of it is me promoting my interviews, but in doing my interviews is really me propping somebody else up. So you'll see my work on my Instagram. It's funny, somebody might log onto my Instagram, and depending on the day, they might not even know that I rap or that I make music. But that's my job, and I love it. But the 1st and the 15th. So if you know, the 1st and the 15th are usually paydays, especially if for people that grew up on government assistance. Look, today's the 15th, right?
Yeah.
Stimulus checks started hitting on the 15th.
Yeah.
That's when the government pays out. It was more prevalent back then, but the 1st and the 15th was payday. And hustlers would count on that because the checks coming the 1st and the 15th, that means the fiends was out and they were spending money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I get what
that's
you're
why when Jay has that lyric, no 2 days are alike except the 1st and 15th, pretty much. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's when the spot is jumping. So I say all that to say I work all week, and the 1st and the 15th is me. I drop a record on the 1st and the 15th to invest in myself. That's like, so after I work, after I pay all my bills, take care of my kids, do what I gotta do, what I'm telling my fans and what I'm telling my followers and my supporters, invest in yourself. Save something for yourself, even if it's a little bit. Do something for yourself and do something for that thing that you love. So the 1st and the 15th is me taking part of my check and investing it in myself. It's not in monetary terms, but it's me pointing out music. It's something that really fulfills me, that's totally for me, and it's not about anybody else. And I'm doing that all year.
Yeah. So how about we go to the beginning and you could tell me what was it like growing up in Brooklyn? Flatbush, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Flatbush. What was it like growing up in Brooklyn? It was tough, man. It was definitely. I grew up in that era, man. In that crack era. So, you know, we seen what that did to families. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was tough. It was dangerous. My bad. I'm just trying to find the right setup here.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah.
I'm gonna get into it. Alright, so growing up in Flatbush, growing up in the 80s, we good. Audio's still good, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Growing up in the 80s, man, I grew up in the crack era, man, so I seen it, man. I seen family members addicted, I seen people around me addicted. You walk outside your house, you know, the addicts was dangerous, the dealers was dangerous, the lot was dangerous. But you know, it was a lot of love. At the same time, hip hop is like really all around, and you know, it's the most exciting thing in the world.
Yeah.
And you know, I grew up. I'm a hip hop baby. I don't remember life without hip hop, and so you know, that's what influenced me from everything from the way it sounded to the way it looked to the way we dressed to the way we talked to the slang. So it was dope. I wouldn't have traded it for nothing. Like growing up in New York, as hard as it was in that time, man, it was the shit.
Yeah.
Can we curse? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the shit.
Now, here's a false illusion, you know, that, you know, white people were probably racist and they throw around stereotypes. Like, what is the stereotype of this saying that hip-hop promoted drug use? Would you agree with that?
Nah. I mean, hip hop when it first started, if you look, and this from the historian, I didn't realize this. I was a baby, but you know, I studied it. You know what I'm saying, and I become a journalist and a historian. If you look at the first hip hop records, the first commercial records, first of all, the first hip hop parties were to keep kids off the street. Was to keep, you know, just the park jams, just to keep people, give people something to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? First commercial record was like Rapper's Delight, like these were like early commercial records.
Yeah.
And this was like, an offshoot from disco though. They still sounded like disco records a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, by the time you get to like 82, 83, like a record like Grandmaster Flash Furious 5, The Message, that shit changed everything.
Yeah.
Like that record was about growing up in the hood, broken glass everywhere, pissing in them, man. They just don't care. You know what I'm saying? It goes from the hip, the hip to the hippity to really describing the shit that's going on around you. You know, records like Ice-T, 6 in the Morning, like, and you start to see, and I call them like reality rap, where it's more about the things going on around you, and that's more what I do. Like it's like reality rap. Like I rap about the things going on around me. It's no hard times where I Run DMC. You know, it's no secret that those records started coming out closer and closer to the crack era booming. You know what I'm saying? So in a lot of ways, hip hop grew. It was a reaction to what was going on in the streets. It was because you won't believe it. You know, same thing like NWA, fuck the police. Like white America didn't know that was going on. Like it was a broadcast. It was like, yo, this shit is really happening in these hoods. And you know, does the music promote drug use to an extent? Yeah. Like I think it births from reality and report what's going on, and then the more successful it gets, the more copycats you get, and the message starts getting diluted. But if you look at those early hip hop, take somebody like Dr. Dre for example, right? Express Yourself. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about not smoking weed. He says he doesn't smoke weed on Express Yourself. Even if Yellow, make it acapella. Says, yo, I don't smoke weed or
sex. Yeah.
This Dr. Dre. And like, this is like 88. But by the time he gets to 92, it's the Chronic.
Yeah.
And he's the biggest weed smoker in the world. I say that to say that the attitudes around drugs have changed. And not that weed was a terrible drug, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, even if you listen to Cream, right? It was just a reflection of what's going on in the street. If you listen to Wu-Tang Cream, Raekwon is talking about smoking crack. You know what I'm saying? Crack and weed. The combination made my eyes bleed.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a reflection of what was going on in the street. It wasn't that it's Raekwon telling you, yo, go out there, smoke crack. No. It was that in the early days before we realized what the effects of crack was, it was a drug like any other drug, and people were using it recreationally until you found out what it really did to you. You know what I'm saying? But if you listen to like Brand Nubian, like, you know, if you hear rappers talk about woolies and shit like that, that's crack and that's weed in your blood. So it was more of a reflection of what's going on, and then, you know, but it definitely influenced people to use drugs too. You can't deny that. But so does rock and roll. In the 70s, people was tripping acid and, you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Like, it's not going to change. The music is always a reflection of what the drugs are of that era. And right now, we in that pill era. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, God. It's all over the place.
How the music sounds.
Now, growing up in that era and now being heavily involved in this era in the music industry, would you say that the deaths and just the violence was worse back then, or is it worse now?
I don't know. I mean, you just always want to get it. It's sad, man. Like, you know, look, man, we lost Eazy-E to AIDS. Like, that was crazy. Like, that was wild. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we saw Magic Johnson get AIDS. Like, it was like, what? But we knew what AIDS looked like. Like, I've had family members die from AIDS. So we knew what it looked like. We knew what the stigma was. And but Eazy-E got it? We was like, what? Because he was like a superhero, so you never thought it would happen to him. I mean, we knew people who got murdered in our lives, like, gunned down, but big? Like, what? Like, pop? Like, what? Like, that shit is not supposed to happen. So we seen it, and that definitely affected us. I don't think it's worse now, and I don't think it's better. I just think it's an extension. It's just fucked up. It's what young people go through is coming to age, and we lost some, you know. Mac Miller is a friend of mine. That's my brother. Like, if you look, I'm in my bedroom.
Yeah, I saw the plaque on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a plaque for Mac Miller's "Knock Knock." That was, I think, that was his first gold single, and he gave that to me, him and his team, for helping, like, as a journalist, shine light on his career. Like, that's my brother, and we lost him to something drug related. And it's sad, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Mac's music wasn't that. Like, he was open about his addictions and his demons, but Mac wasn't telling you nowhere in his music to use drugs. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's just some fucked up shit that happened. You know, you see like Lil Peep, man. You know, we see it.
Yeah.
We see it all too often. It sucks. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, unfortunately, I think it'll always be there. I don't think drugs are going away. It's like a youth thing.
Yeah.
Like, you almost have to go through it. You go through your drug phase, and hopefully you get out of it. But sometimes it claims last. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and hopefully it does end, but it may
I
not
hope
soon. Yeah, I hope it does. And I want to get into what made you want to become a journalist.
It was never an aspiration of mine to become a journalist. Somebody just gave me the opportunity. I never thought it would be possible. I didn't think I could make a living doing it at first.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed so far fetched because when you think journalist, you think New York Times or something. And I was like, man, nobody from New York Times is gonna hire me. Like, look how I dress. Like, I'm not putting on the suit. Like, that's just not me. But I got the opportunity. A friend of mine gave me an opportunity to write for a magazine, and man, when I seen the money I made from it, I said, oh man, like, I love doing it, but I was like, I can do it and I can make money. I think I made $300 from like my first article, and I had a job in the mailroom at the time, so it was like extra money. I was like, yo, that's an extra $300, and all I had to do was listen to this Jadakiss album and write a review. Sign me up, and I just took every opportunity that came to me. But I think since a kid I always knew I wanted to be in music, so I was always gonna do something with the music.
Mm-hmm. Now, what was the first article you wrote? Was it about Jadakiss?
Yeah, it was a Jadakiss album review for Kiss of Death, for the second album, Kiss of Death.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it like working for Double XL on The Source?
It was dope. Well, The Source, I was only a freelancer, so I was
Okay.
never really part of the staff. I was only freelance for them. And that was cool because The Source was like the Bible at the time. You know, it was a little bit of hell, though. It was tough getting paid. The Source still owes me money. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I didn't get paid for a lot of the shit that I did from The Source. It's funny because I said I never did an internship. But in a lot of ways, freelancing for The Source, I guess, was my internship because I didn't get paid. And then when I got to Double XL, I was on staff at Double XL for about 4 years. And it was great, man. We did some amazing things. I was part of that staff that did the first few freshman covers. So, being a part of that, I mean, that was new and exciting. And, by the time I got to Double XL, The Source had fallen off. Double XL was the biggest magazine, no question.
Yeah.
So, it was dope. It was a great learning experience. It was hard, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wasn't glamorous all the time, but it definitely made me who I am.
I want to get into the East Coast, West Coast beef again, as we're in the day of social media. Would you say that the role of the magazines back then was that form of social media back then in the 90s, and it kind of instigated things?
Yeah, because what the magazines had, the media had the access. We didn't have access to the artists' fans like we do now. Now we have social media, so I could follow my favorite artists.
Yeah.
I could follow Pusha T and see what he's saying. I could follow Meek Mill. I could follow Tory Lanez, or like whoever your favorite artist is. I could follow Griselda. Like I could adjust my whole feed to just follow my favorite artists and get all the updates and find out about their lives. We didn't have that back then, so you had the magazines and the reporters and The Source were the people who had vibe, but people who had access, so they would report the stories back to us. This is what Biggie said. This is what Diddy said. This is what Jay-Z said.
And then Tupac and Faith on the cover.
Huh?
And then you had Tupac and Faith Evans on the cover.
Yeah. So, it's stuff like that. And, so yeah, was it irresponsible back then? Sure. Like, there was maybe things that they could have done better because, I do believe that the East Coast, West Coast thing was a bit of a fabrication. It was really just two camps beefing. And it was really just beefing with everybody. And it got bigger than what it was. I think maybe they could have played a role in squashing it too. I don't think it's all on the media. I think that the rappers and the artists involved have to take some responsibility for that. Like if you look at a cat like Biggie would always downplay it.
Yeah.
Even records like I swear to God, like records like Who Shot Ya? Like I hear that and I'm like, how is this not a diss record to Pac? But Biggie always maintained it wasn't a diss record. He said I didn't write it about him, it wasn't a diss record. To this day, like I've asked Lil C's like recently, C's was like, nah, that wasn't about Pac. I know what I hear, but if Big said it wasn't about Pac, who am I to say no? Like maybe he was trying to cover it up. I don't know, but I always felt like Big would try to downplay it. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't feed into it, but unfortunately, man, that shit just all boiled over.
Mm-hmm. Now, what do you believe happened? Do you believe it was the beef that led to their deaths, or it was two totally different things?
I don't know. I think the beef has something to do with it. I think it like added fuel to the fire, but my gut had always told me it was some street shit. Like, I think the Pac thing was definitely some street shit, some gang shit. And I think the Biggie thing might have been retaliation for something else. But, I really don't know. But, yeah, I don't think it was, quote-unquote, like a rap beef. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That really there was other factors at play. Yeah. There was other beef shit at play. Just when you look at the people who are around and the people whose names come up, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And those two cases are still unsolved today, and we really don't know who murdered them. Do you ever see those being solved?
Nah. They'll just stay. I think the people who know. I think the streets know. I think the people who know, but I don't think they'll be solved. I think there was just too much corruption going on. Even with the police, there was just too much corruption within the whole shit going on that the whole thing is muddled. So I don't think it'll ever be solved.
Yeah. It's a shame too because, they're considered the two greatest rappers of all time and the fans will never know.
Yeah. Nah, it sucks, man. It's terrible. When you think about it, man, they were both, like, Biggie was killed on fucking... I pass by the Peterson Museum when I'm in LA. Like sometimes, like I'll just. It's funny because I don't know my way around LA like that. Like I do and I don't. Mm. But I always accidentally, like never purposely end up. I've always like passed there just by chance. Every time I pass there, I get chills and I think about this shit. I'm like, it was a big party. It was like, how the fuck did somebody get killed at a big party and nobody sees that? Pac got killed outside of a Mike Tyson fight. No. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to kind of question, like, if they were white artists, would it have been solved? You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't hip-hop, would it have been solved? But, there was a lot of street shit going on, too. And there was a lot of corruption, like I said, within law enforcement, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's another theory that I've looked into. If they were still around today, do you think the game would be the same as the 90s era, or it still would have evolved and we would have drill and Biggie and everything?
Nah, the game changes, man. Mm-hmm. The game changes. Like, it would have been boring if it's still the same. Like, for me personally, I lived through the 90s, so I don't need hip-hop to stay like the 90s. Mm-hmm. Like, especially Big, I think Big was a guy that was about advancing the culture. Who knows? I don't know that he'd still be rapping like Jay is rapping because he was talking about retirement even then. Yeah. But maybe. But I know Biggie was somebody who was progressive because if you think about it, what he did on Notorious Thugs with Bone Thugs and Harmony, like that wasn't a cool thing for New York cats to do, to get on the track with somebody from the Midwest and use that bounce. Like that was their thing.
He could flow on any beat.
Right, and I think a lot of New York MCs wouldn't have done that just because, you get put into a box, and I think Big was unafraid. I think Big seen that because, one, I think he was a fan of a whole bunch of shit. And then I think he sees that and be like, oh, let me try that. Oh, Armed and Dangerous. Ain't too many gonna bang with us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that right there shows me a cat that was unafraid. So he wasn't trying to just be trapped in whatever box. He was trying to grow as an artist. Like, and I think that one song is the absolute proof of that.
Mm-hmm. And I know, as you mentioned in the interview and many other interviews, that Jay is your favorite artist.
Facts.
What would you say was the reason that he rose to such prominence in the 90s when Biggie was unfortunately killed? Unlike all these other artists, how come G-Rap didn't get that spotlight that Jay-Z did and all these other rappers? Like, Big Daddy Kane and Master Ace, did they just? It's because that they just didn't make the records the same way they did before.
Yeah, nah, it's not about getting the spotlight. It's about taking the spotlight. Jay took the spotlight. Jay knew what he wanted. Jay wanted to be the best at what he did. Like I feel like that was important to him. That mattered, and I think he was skilled, and I think he was hungry. So I think he took it. You know what I'm saying? Intentionally. He says it. Like I think one of the most important songs of that era, and people overlook, is Jay-Z. I think first of all, I think In My Lifetime Volume 1 is a brilliant album that a lot of people give shit for. Because Jay did try to do like some commercial things, but The City Is Mine. Like that's
the second track off the album. Yep.
Huh?
The second track off the album, The City Is Mine.
Yeah. Don't worry about Brooklyn. I continue to flame for a world where the media won't forget your name.
Yeah.
You held it down long enough, let me take those reins. And just like your spirit, the commission remains. Like, dude told you what he was going to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it's funny, because he used to get teased. I remember Cameron and even Nas, right? Like, how many Biggie rounds are going to come out your fat lips? Like, Jay would always take a big round and flip it.
Yeah.
And I think what people miss, first of all, he told you he was going to do that. Don't worry about Brooklyn. I continue to flame so a world where amnesia won't forget your name. How do you do that? You keep reintroducing his lyrics through your lyrics. You know what else that does, though?
What else?
That ensures that Biggie gets a piece of publishing on the song. So when Jay gets on I Just Want to Love You, the Pharrell, Give It To Me, and when the Remy's in the system, ain't no telling motherfucker what I did to him, that's what they be yelling, I'm a pimp by blood. That's a Biggie line. But him spitting those 4 bars over again, he had to give Big writing credit. So Big gets a piece of that publishing. Big's no longer here to collect, so that goes to Valletta Wallace or whoever owns the publishing. But Big's estate continues to eat. You know what I'm saying? That shit is brilliant. Like,
I never knew that before. That's interesting. Yeah.
If you think about it, like, it make all the sense. Like, if you spit somebody else's rhyme, even just a few bars, they got to get publishing off of that.
Yeah. It's like plagiarizing a paper in school. You got to give credit. You got to quote it.
Right.
Yeah.
And Jay is smart enough to know that. And if you think about Jay, does he need to take a Biggie line? No. Biggie was great.
Yeah.
Amazing. But Jay is capable of writing his own shit. Does he really need to flip that line? Nah, one, you do it because it fits the vibe. It's just like, oh, this is just the vibe I want. But it's like, and my man's mom gets a check. It's a win-win. Let's go. And we keep his legacy alive. Like, and there was a time when that wasn't cool in hip-hop. Like, you couldn't take somebody else's rhyme and flip it. It's accepted now. So that's what I'm talking about, hip-hop changing from the 90s. Because I do it all the time. Like, if I'd have dropped Death Around the Corner, my new song in the 90s with that Tupac flip.
Oh, people would be like, oh, he's biting his style. Yeah.
Yeah, so hip-hop's changed. Like, and of course, it's not supposed to stay the same.
And I know on one of your other songs I listened to off one of your albums, you had the line about the Jordans and the chain. That was a reference from Nas's song Street Dreams off It Was Written.
That was one of the realest lines for me, man. When Nas said, the streets raised me up, giving a fuck. I thought Jordans and the gold chain was living it up.
Yeah. Like,
that's not even a ill rap. Like, but it's so relatable. Like, I just remember growing up in that era, and you'll do anything to get some money, and all you wanted to do was just your little herringbone chain. Like, I had a herringbone back in the day, but you wanted your little gold chain and a pair of Jordans.
Yeah.
And you thought that you were set. So that line had always meant something to me. So when I got a chance to do my first single, I Don't Want to Wait, I flipped it, but that's probably my favorite rhyme that I wrote, because that's just a triple entendre. Like I said, I flipped it. So now I said, I thought Jordans and the gold, streets raised me up giving a fuck. I thought Jordans and the gold chain was living it up. So I flipped it. I said, I thought Jordans and the gold chain was living. I molded my mission out of God's vision. To the point every communion that I'm getting, I'm in bread 11s or Bordeaux 7s.
Yeah.
So though Jordans and the gold chain was living, I molded my image out of Godson's vision. Nas is Godson. That was his vision. So automatically I'm paying homage to Nas, right? Because that's where the original line came from. To the point every communion that I'm getting, you talk about Godson, Jesus Christ, the communion is the bread and the wine, right? The body and the blood of Christ.
Yeah.
Every communion that I'm getting, I'm in bread 11s or Bordeaux 7s. Bread 11s are the patent leather Jordans, black and red, or the Bordeaux 7s, the gray wine-colored 7s. So it goes back to the original line. I thought Jordans in the gold chain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that shit is a mean triple. Like, I'm talking about our three gods, man. It's like Jesus, Jordan, and Nas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, we're back. It must have get lost connection or something.
yeah, my bad.
No, you're fine. Yeah, we were talking about the line with the gold chain, the Jordan. And I was just about to tell you that, how many rappers can really do that today? They don't flip lines like that. They don't use metaphors like that, and that's keeping the culture alive. That's keeping the real hip hop alive.
Well, that's the shit about me. Like, and I think I'm dope. Like, I don't give a fuck what nobody says.
No,
like,
you
I
are.
do shit like that, and I'm like, man, I'm cold, and I think it goes over a lot of people's heads. People don't catch it, but I'm not regular when it comes to these raps. Like, the shit got layers and the shit got meaning, and I wholeheartedly believe that. But I think there's a lot of MCs out there doing that stuff, because those are the people who inspire me. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I know. I know who I love. I love Dave East. I always advocate for Dave East because he's
dope.
He's the bridge for trap artists and lyrical artists, because he can rap on a trap beat and he can do some boom bap storytelling type of beat as well.
Yeah, East is crazy. My favorite song for East is Type of Time. Like, I just like relatable shit. So when he's like, man, I did a lot, but I never hated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, off of Kyrie Channel.
It's not online.
Off of Kyrie Chanel.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Cardo produced that beat. That line, it's not even an ill line, but man, I did a lot, but I ain't never hated. I'm on a different type of time. Like, I love that shit, bro. Like, that shit is so crazy. East is dope.
Griselda, of course.
It's funny when what happened.
Griselda, of course, they can do it.
Yeah, like Benny. You know what I'm saying? When Benny says, one of my favorite Benny lines is, before A&R, I was weighing hard back when Nicki Minaj was in the training bar. You play this game, you better play it hard, because the judge will give you life, and the next day he'll be playing golf. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, son is ill. He did so many ill things. Like, he gave you real criticism about society and the injustice of the justice system, right?
Yeah.
But he lured you in before I knew what an A&R. I was playing hard back when Nicki Minaj was in the training bar. Like, that's just the funny, witty punchline. So he got you hooked in.
Mm-hmm.
Nicki Minaj was in the training bar. That was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Like, it just is a dope rap line. But then he gives you the jewel. You play this game, you better play it hard, because the judge will give you life. The next day he'll be playing golf. Like, that's ill to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's the shit that go over people's heads. Or even Conway. Like, I just did that interview with Conway. We was talking about the cow and his verse on the cow. And to me, that's like a superhero origin story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the type of shit that I love, man. And I love doing it too. I love giving my version of that. So even things like that line that we was talking about, that Jordan and the gold chain line, that shit ill to me. I really feel like, and because my music isn't as popular right now.
It should be, though.
If I'd have gave that line to somebody else, like if Drake would have said that, people would have been like, yo. Like, motherfuckers would have lost their mind if anybody else would have said that but me. Like, that was definitely one of the ones when I did that, and I was like, yo, they gonna go crazy when they hear it, and just not a lot of people caught it, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, that's an ill fucking bar, and I don't care who said it,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So how about you tell me, what year did you start writing rhymes?
I was probably like 12 years old.
12 years old?
Yeah, I was like 12.
And when now, was 2016 the first time you started really releasing content?
Nah, I had always been pointing out, like, it's just the times changed. It was like in this modern time, yeah. 2017, I put out my first project. But, I was, there used to be the show, I don't know if you're familiar, in New York, called Stretch and Barbito.
Oh, yeah, they used to be in the 90s. They had Big Al on, of course, yeah.
Yeah, they had the famous. So, I mean, I was making records back then, and back then, my only mission, I just wanted to get my records played on Stretch and Bob's show.
Did it ever happen?
Yeah, Bobito
Oh,
played
good.
my record. Yeah, I was in a group at the time, so he played one of the records for sure. And he had a record label because he had just signed MF Doom. He put out MF Doom's first solo project when he went from Zev Love X. He put the master on he was Doom. So I just wanted to be on Bobito's record label. It was a record label called Fondling. It was an indie record label. I remember taking a meeting. I was in high school. I remember taking a meeting with him. You know what I mean? And trying to get signed. That didn't happen. I remember taking a meeting at Sony, trying to get signed. Like, this is when I'm still in high school. I was battling. My life was kind of like 8 Mile. I was in the studio. So I was trying to make it happen then. When I get to the early 2000s, I'm working in the mailroom across the street, in the building across the street from High 97. So I'm making mixtapes. And I'm standing outside of Hot 97 and I'm handing my tapes and my songs out to anybody who would take them. That means DJs, Mr. C, Angie Martinez, artists who were coming in and out the building. I handed the CD, I remember giving the CD to Kanye West and having a conversation with Kanye early on. Raekwon, like people that I would come to meet later. Like I would stand in front of Hot 97 and hand out CDs to. That's why it was so important to me when Hot 97 started playing my records. First time I heard my record on Hot 97, I cried, dog. Because I used to stand out my lunch break, before work, after work, and hand out CDs in front of Hot 97. And then when they invited me up to do an interview on Ebro in the morning, I'm like, yo, this is crazy. This is everything that I dreamed of. So I was putting music out then. And then in the mid to late 2000s, I was on blogs like Now Right and Two Dope Boys and stuff like that. So I had music out there for sure. But I think from 2017 is like when I fully committed to doing it. And I said, yo, I'm going to make this work one way or another.
What have you learned from your interviews with rappers and artists in the game that may have helped you with your rapping skills?
I learned that I could do it. I learned that there wasn't no difference, man. We put rappers up, and as we should, on the pedestal. I think, the talent that it takes to rap. I think we downplay the talent that it takes to rap. Not sing, not create a melody, but because that's talent too. But the talent to actually put these words and these metaphors together, today we downplay that talent a lot. But what I seen. I knew I had that talent, and I always knew I had that talent. And I was maybe afraid and didn't have the courage, or I was afraid of what people would think because I was a journalist. And so many people told me I shouldn't rap. So many people told me I wasn't good. And so many people told me it wouldn't work. And when I interviewed artists, I realized at the beginning of their careers, it was a lot of the same stories. It was a lot of doubt. And part of their success was overcoming that doubt. So, I just learned it's not to downplay nobody, but I've interviewed the biggest artists in the game, and there's not a real difference between us.
Yeah.
Of course, success. You know what I'm saying? There's a such thing. I'm not being totally ignorant. There's a variant of skill level. You know what I'm saying? It's true, but fundamentally, there's no difference. You know what I'm saying? There's rappers that I've interviewed that I know that I'm better than. It's just a fact.
I agree.
And then
I agree.
Thank you. Now, there's people that I interview that I'm like, oh my God, I rap service around you or put me on the track with you. And then there's people that I interview that are all-time greats that I know I'm not better than, or I might feel like I'm not better than, but I'll be like, man, if you put me on the track with whoever, I'm going to get my shit off. I'm not going to sound like I don't belong. One of the dope things, and I think he's an amazing MC, man, and I think he's so underrated. When I did a record with Styles P. Styles P hopped on one of my records, Next Check, and I laid my verse and everything, and I sent it to him, and he laid his, and and I'm not saying that to say I don't think he studied my verse. There was no Styles P is great. He could rap fucking blindfolded and with earplugs in.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that I laid my verse after his. You know what I'm saying? I laid mine, he laid his, and then Chris Streets was on that record, laid his. And when I listened to the record, objectively. There's some days that I'm like, man, my verse is my favorite verse on there, and then some days it's Styles' verse. But it could go either way. What I'm saying is I kept up. Anybody could hear that record and be like, yo, Rob don't belong on this shit. I prove right there. I could rap with the best of them. And there's some people who feel like I might have a better verse than some people who who might feel like he has a better verse. But there's nobody who could say I don't belong on that record.
Yeah.
And Styles P is one of the greats. He, first of all, by himself being one of the greats, and then he's rapped with everybody. He's rapped with Big. He's rapped with DMX. He's rapped with Jay. He's a great Jadakiss and Sheep. Like, he's a great who's rapped with all the greats.
One of the best of all time.
What are your questions? Like, now I'm on the song and man, I kept up. Nobody could say it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know that's what it is, and that's how I feel. So it's like I could rap with anybody. Put me on a track with anybody.
Who's someone else that you want to get on the track with? You can hear me? Oh, it keeps dying out. Yeah, for some reason it keeps cutting out.
I'm not sure if that's just me. I took the Wi-Fi off and I just put it on.
Oh, okay.
Let me just see if it's that.
My next question was, who's someone else that you want to get on the track with? You just were talking about being on track with Styles P.
I don't know. I don't care anymore. I don't think about it. I used to think about it a lot. I don't care about features. I don't give a fuck about features.
Yeah.
I want to rap with who wants to rap with me. I'm not into chasing people and, you know, again, I dropped a song today, Death Around the Corner, with my man Triz, and not a lot of people have heard of him, but he's fucking dope, and he's from Cali, and he gets mad streams. He has his fans, but he's fucking dope. Before that, I did a song called Good Friday with my man Cantrell from Georgia. Cantrell is fucking dope. Before that, I did Head High with Ichiban Dawn. If you know anything, like, look up Willie B, the producer. He's produced for Kendrick and Cole and Absol, and then he also raps under the name Ichiban Dawn. He's one of the best rappers. I did a record with Punch. Like, these are just, like, my friends that could rap.
Yeah.
Like, me and Daylight got a fucking record that isn't even out. It might not ever come out. I don't know what we're going to do with it, but it's just some shit we made on the fly. Like, Daylight could fucking rap. I'm not chasing those fucking features. Like, if we cool and if you want to rap, like, I'm down. Like, let's hook it up. But I don't really think about it no more. Like, who do I want to rap with? I know me and Jadakiss been talking about doing something though. Like, that'd be ill.
Oh, yeah, that would be great. That would be fine.
Me and Kiss been talking about doing something that'd be ill. You know, Royce is somebody who I respect and look up to, and I love to get on the track with Royce, and I think that it'll be a great time, not on some competitive shit, because Royce is not even in that mindset. But again, that's one of the all-time greats. Like, how excited would it be just to run with that guy? I don't know, just my friends, man.
Yeah.
Like, just whoever, you know. Pusha would be dope. Just anybody who I think is dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And another thing too about your music. Another thing too about your music that I like is the '90s references. I know last night you had an AZ Do or Die reference with Sugar Hill.
Yeah.
Just all the '90s references that you put into your music is important.
That's just the era that shaped me. I don't do it on purpose. I don't be like, yo, let me throw this '90s reference in there. But it helps me. It's just shaped me. You know, even on my new record, Tote Hill, there's another AZ reference. You know what I'm saying? Where I say,
there we go. I don't know what's going on.
See me now?
Yeah, I can see you now. The connections, I don't know what's going on with my connection here. Yeah, we were talking about the AZ reference.
Yeah, you know, I don't purposely go out my way to make '90s references. It's just what shaped me. And AZ was one of those rappers that I really looked up to. I think AZ is super underrated. I think he was a guy who was many things at once. I think one, he could just put words together like no other. His flow was tight. It was like flawless. His flow was so textbook.
Especially on "Life's a Bitch" by Nas. That verse is ill.
That's my favorite rap verse ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, AZ's "Life's a Bitch" verse is my favorite rap verse ever. And I think AZ could paint a picture. He could be fly, but he wasn't all about money and materialism. Like, he'll give you knowledge in a verse. you know what I'm saying? Like AZ was like the perfect mixture of everything.
Yeah.
And so yeah, subconsciously like I'll reference him or think about him a lot when I'm making music. Like if there was one guy I could probably maybe mold myself after, it might be like AZ.
Yeah. And you had a post today too on AZ from Belly.
Yeah. I'm a big AZ fan.
I love AZ.
Even in my song So Hell, I reference him. When I say I went to watch out the Marriott, it's rap caviar without the bullshit and all the caveats. Like that's an AZ line from Sugar Hill.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I went to watch out the Marriott. Like, what's the line? The actual line before it is like a toast to this motivational rice. Yeah. So the line before it is, here's a toast to this motivational lifestyle. Word to AZ. That's the reason I write now. And when to watch out the Marriotts, this rap caviar without the bullshit and all the caveats. So AZ is like super, super, super influential to me, man. And I just love that scene in Belly, like, because I use that scene to promote my song Death Around the Corner.
Mm-hmm.
And if that scene, if you remember, he's outside the barbershop, Nas comes, AZ's holding his baby, and when he sees the goons coming around the corner to get Nas, he's like, yo, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because none of this shit is worth me or my child losing their life over. I got to blow done, and he leaves. He saw the shit coming from around the corner, and I always loved it. To me, that's one of the most important scenes in the movie. And I always felt like in my life I was kind of that guy. Like I was always around shit. Like I always kind of seen shit, but I knew just when to take my ass inside the house, when to go, when to not stay on the block too long, because that wasn't it was like a reality, but it wasn't my life.
Yeah.
So a lot of my friends was in it and doing it, but I knew just when not to involve myself in some bullshit that ain't had shit to do with me.
Now I have two AZ questions. What do you prefer, the original Sugar Hill with Miss Jones or the remix?
Nah, the original.
The original.
I ain't gonna lie, because I had such a big crush on Miss Jones at the time. So I ain't gonna lie, the original. And the remix was fly too.
Yeah.
But the original.
Yeah, I agree. It has a different flow. Like the remix is more gritty.
Yeah.
But the original is just got that flow on there.
Then my girlfriend at the time, who, we together now, she's my wife now. We grew up on that shit. Like that was our song. So,
Yeah.
like she would do the Miss Jones part. And I always used to say that, man, we're gonna get a house, like Sugar Hill. That was one of the first songs that I aspired to be like. Like the shit he was talking about. Like I'm like, yo, I gotta get money so I can live like this. Like absolutely. And then again, that's why I said that line, man. A toast to motivational lifestyles. Word to AZ, that's the reason I write now. Like that was early in my writing career, and that shit motivated me.
Now, if you had to have one AZ album, Do or Die or Pieces of a Man, which one you take it? I love Pieces of a Man too. I like that one.
Pieces of a Man is slept on.
Yeah.
But why those two? Because listen, Asiatic was fire.
Yeah.
Asiatic was super fire. Like people slept, because Asiatic came out I think right out Blueprint. So everybody was on Blueprint, and Blueprint's a better album. But Asiatic was a hell of an album.
Yeah. Technology is great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, we back?
Yeah, we're back now. Technology is insane, man. It's
gift and the curse.
Yeah.
But I was saying between Do or Die and Pieces of a Man, and I'm just don't forget about Asiatic. Asiatic was a masterpiece. But it was between the two that you gave me, and I think Pieces of a Man is super slept on. But I'm a big fan of the first time. Like for me, it's nothing beats the first time. Like I had to go Do or Die. Like there's so many songs on there. Like More Money, More Murder, More Homicide's a crazy song.
Rather Unique.
Rather Unique with Pete Rock is crazy. Like yo, those verses are so crazy. Whole Happy Jackie is always funny to me because I had a girl around that time that liked me named Jackie, so we used to call her Whole Happy Jackie. She was kind of wild.
Give Me Yours.
Give Me Yours with Nas singing. Like it's so funny too. People say this thing about Drake, about the singing and the rapping, and what Drake definitely is a reason why everybody does it now. Like Drake definitely, you can't take that away from him. But there's people who think that started with Drake and it didn't. I mean, it didn't start with Nas either, but Nas used to sing.
Yeah.
Nas is singing on that hook.
He used to sing on Undying Love, too.
Undying Love, give me what you can't get back. People forget the original version, not French Montana version, but Stay Scheming.
Oh, yeah.
That comes from an old Nas song. Stay Scheming, Stay Dreaming, and Nas is singing on that song. So I say Nas and his singing bag is crazy. But I'm gonna go Do or Die.
Yeah, Do or Die is 1995. That's a classic.
That was hard.
So tell me, what's the next single that we can expect from you? What kind of style is it?
Today, so it's Death Around the Corner. Y'all gotta run Death Around the Corner up. Next is I got a song called Who Do I Trust with my man Listen to Sin is his name. One word, Listen to Sin. He's from Broward County in Florida, and that's my man for real. We actually did a song a couple of months back. It was my man Vince's single called Get It Started. So.
Tell me about getting a job at Genius and doing your show For the Record. Yeah, I gotta keep apologizing to the audience. It keeps cutting out.
Yeah, we probably gonna have to cut it at some point because the Nas is working against it.
Yeah.
But Who Do I Trust is the next single featuring my man Listen to Sin. He's from Broward County. Yeah, that shit is super hard.
So tell me about getting the job at Genius and doing your show For the Record.
Nah, it's just a dream, man. I do a lot of things at Genius. For the Record is one of them. But I love having the platform to speak to artists and give the same way you giving me the opportunity to break down my art, to give people the opportunity to break down their art for their fans. I love interviewing. I'm one of the best at it in the whole game. Mm-hmm. It's a passion of mine, and I love what we're doing at Genius. I think I came to Genius at a time when everybody was focused on doing like TMZ type interviews, and it was all about more gossip than it was about knowledge. And so, and I see a lot of people focusing on music now. It's not to say nobody was doing music interviews before that, but I know I really wanted to do music interviews, and I see the game's kind of switching back, and it's less about gossip, more about music and knowledge. So I feel good that we have that, we kind of have that effect. You know what I'm saying? I think we've influenced a lot of people. And it's great. I love what we're doing over there.
Yeah. And I want to thank you for calling in here tonight, man. I had a great time. It's real hip-hop talk. That's what I want. We got to always show respect to the pioneers that came before us. And that's what you're doing with your music, too.
Facts. Yeah, that's all it is. Look, man, it's just the shit that I love. It's not even, I don't think about it. It's not a marketing plan. It's just like, this the shit that I came up off of. Like, who references AZ? Like fucking, I got song, like, I Don't Want to Wait, my first single, was like my version of a Tragedy Gaddafi song. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who's doing that? Like, and it's not something that you think of. It might not even be the cool thing to do, but it's just the shit that I love. So I'm going to keep on doing it.
Yeah, I want to thank you again for calling in here tonight. You're always welcome. And, if you want to send me your music, if you have clean versions, I'll get them going at the radio station at St. John's, too.
Bet. I'll get us some clean versions, too. I'll be kind of sleeping on that, only because it's just me, bro. I don't even send my things out to DJs. I don't send it out to blogs. Like, I just put it out, and folks is blessed to find it. I'm happy that they find it, but it's not even like a deliberate effort. But I'll make the effort. I'll get some clean versions up. I'll hit my engineer up. We can get some clean versions over to you for sure. That'd be great.
Yeah. And when this quarantine clears up, if you want to come down to St. John's at the station, we could do another interview too.
Bet. That's a bet, man. I'm gonna take you up on that.
No, and I'll even get you to freestyle over an AZ beat.
Yeah, I got you. I got some verses on deck too.
Oh yeah, I already know that. I'll think of what beat I'll use, but it'll be fire AZ one.
No doubt.
All right, Rob. I want you to take care and stay safe. All right.
All right, man. You too. Peace.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Peace. Yeah. No problem. Thank you.
Look, I was born to win, born to sin, so new beginnings, they can flow within. So they ride away to go Moses. Part of me, while I find my sin. Part shit, I rule my pen like an army of the Nazarene. Samson, when I near my end, I go Dan, and when I'm in the den.
I want to thank everyone who tuned in tonight to me and Rob Markman. We had a great interview, talked about real hip hop. Make sure you follow him on Instagram and Twitter, at Rob Markman. He just dropped a brand new single, definitely around the corner. Make sure you go check it out, download it, stream it, whatever you do. Check out his show on Genius, as you all know. For the record, there's a lot of great interviews. Just make sure you go check that out. And I want everyone to stay safe and have a good night. And stay tuned to my Instagram at TheRealMax, TheReelMax. And for any upcoming announcements that I may have regarding interviews, the show, much more. And again, stay safe and have a good night, everyone.
I'm accepting of my fate, and hell's probably late, going heaven at the gates. No, I'm here for the moment, I don't fear no opponents. I just feel like I'm chosen to be here for the culture. That clown shit over and done with. They don't took the game reduced to the dumb shit. Know you try to play a role when you sitting on your own and you contemplate control over everything you own, every single thing you wrote. Hell sacred with your folks, taken as a joke. It's enough to make the strength around the corner. Can't cover your eyes, you can't stall her. Try ducking your highs, she still want ya. So I'ma live how I wanna. I'ma live how I wanna. The devil, he be lurking, and I already know that death's certain. But before God close the curtain, I'ma live out my purpose. I'ma live out my purpose.
I'ma live out my purpose, I'ma do whatever's worth it. I'm young, dumb, and full of cum, don't judge me cause I'm learning. The only thing that's certain is your death, the reaper lurking, and coming to kill whenever, whoever you feel deserving. Yeah, and sometimes I feel worthless, out of place and out of bounds, like I ain't worth shit, straight up. But as I sit and sip this bourbon, I'm hurting and certain to get it because I'm working. Yeah, and I keep the reefer burning like a lethal with a queen like Latifah, she be splurging. And these bitches I ain't concerned with, the ones y'all take turns with, be well known to burn dick. And if death is around the way, then you better get out the way, cause today could be the day. Yeah, and I live by what I say, only on my knees to pray. I'm just trying to be okay, nigga.
Can't cover your eyes, you can't stall her. Try ducking your highs, she still want ya. So I'ma live how I wanna. I'ma live how I wanna. The devil, he be lurking, and I already know that death's certain. But before God close the curtain, I'ma live out my purpose.